to the James and Massimo show where we talk everything food, gaming, and living life to the fullest. Let's cue the intro. This episode is sponsored by Casandra Properties. Casandra Properties is one of the best real estate companies on Staten Island. It was started in 1989 by Casandra Zappala and recently surpassed $1 billion in real estate in 2015. It is just, they have a website, CassandraProperties.com. Follow them on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, every social media platform. They are the awesomest real estate company you can ever sell a house with, or even a building. The CEO, James Prendamano, was involved in South Shore Commons and Empire Outlets. And they also came out with their very own podcast recently. They also have a YouTube channel called Casandra Properties. And thank you to Casandra Properties for sponsoring this video, an awesome company. And actually, we have our first guest on the show as well. Our first guest, joining me and Massimo here, we have the CEO and owner of Casandra Properties, James Prendamano, a.k.a. my dad. Say hi.
Hey, guys. How we doing? Super excited to join you today.
Yeah, so you're our first guest on the show.
All right.
So this is pretty...
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. So we're new to this stuff, and your podcast is very, very good.
Thank you.
I've been listening to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and you guys do a really good job. I'm really proud of you, Dad.
Thank you, son. I'm very proud of you.
In this episode, we will be talking about how to market your business, because he has like a YouTube channel and a podcast, and he really gets more customers from marketing online. So first, just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do at Casandra Properties, how it was founded, some history, stuff like that. Let's hear it.
Sure. So first of all, again, thank you guys for having me on, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be a sponsor.
Anytime.
I'm really proud of the work you guys are doing. Your enthusiasm it's really contagious, the way you guys flow. You do an absolutely tremendous job. Your show is entertaining. It's informative. I really do enjoy listening to the show and watching the show when that's available. And I'm super excited to be here and to be a part of this ground floor opportunity. You guys had come to me and said that you wanted to consider some growth and you wanted to possibly seek sponsors for the show. Yep. And, we had talked about getting together some sort of a budget or what value was I going to get from sponsoring the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the deal basically was that I would make the sponsorship in exchange. I wanted to be the headline sponsor for your show. I wanted to be mentioned at the start of the podcast. I wanted to have my logo up. And I wanted to make sure that the sponsorship money would go into your business and be used for working capital.
Yeah, so the sponsorship money will be going to helping us create a website, also downloading new apps for making better content, some other stuff, trials on websites like SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And before you start talking about yourself and your history, I just want to say that our podcasts are not only on YouTube, but they are also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This is a huge milestone in our career. I don't want to say career, but yeah, kind of career. It took a lot of hard work and effort to get onto Apple Podcasts and especially Spotify. And thank you to iTunes and Spotify for letting us have that opportunity. But back to James, I don't want to take away the spotlight from you since you are our first guest. So let's hear some of your backstory, some of the backstory of the company and stuff like that. Let's hear it.
Sure. So, company was founded in 1989 by Casandra, who happens to be Mom. Company bears her namesake, obviously. She was really a pioneer in the industry back in those days. Having a woman in the highly specialized field of commercial real estate was not typical. So she was a trailblazer. She was kicking butt back then. She's still kicking butt today. And the company evolved. I got fully involved. Oh gosh, I'm getting old. So it was about 20 years ago when I really started to get ingrained in everything that we did there.
Wow.
And we took the company from a boutique brokerage that worked primarily on expensive high-end homes and some commercial deals, and we've turned it into a full-service brokerage that handles the full gamut, consulting and high-end homes and commercial land leasing, the whole nine. So this has been my life, since I'm knee-high to a grasshopper. I've been around the industry, and I love the business. What I love about the business is it's different every day. You're not sitting behind a desk doing the same thing every day. Every day you have an opportunity to meet new people and to, tackle the challenges of each individual deal. And that's, for me, brain's always going. It's exciting for me. I love it. And loving what you do is super important, which is why I took such an interest in what you guys were doing at such a young age during a pandemic when it was tough, and it remains tough. And you and Massimo, to your credit, instead of sitting around and, having your brains melt playing video games all day, you went ahead and you wanted to launch a podcast. And to me, any investment in the digital space and anything you can learn today in the digital space is invaluable. That is the future. That's the frontier, and that's where commerce is rapidly moving and will continue to trend that way. So it was an honor and a privilege for me to do it, and you guys are working hard, and what do we say about hard work?
It pays off.
Every time.
Thank you for the feedback on the podcast and us in general. I got another question for you. When COVID hit the United States and the United States shut down completely and our lives paused, and I noticed that you really started to tackle on the marketing because the real estate market and everything was just plummeting severely. How did you navigate through COVID? Like, how did you get through it? Because I saw that you launched your podcast in the middle of COVID, and I noticed that the podcast is getting a lot of views. So tell us about how you navigated through this really, really, really tough time.
Sure. So, you had two choices. You could sit at home and sulk, or you could find ways to safely work through the pandemic, and working in the digital space provided the perfect opportunity. So just when the pandemic hit, got together with my CMO and my office manager, and we made a commitment that during this time we were going to quadruple down on our digital infrastructure, and we were going to make significant capital investments and time investments in building out the digital side of the business. And we got all our agents licensed as ePro agents, and we launched the podcast, and we worked a bunch of the SEO, and we put together, we really pulled up the back end of the hub and spoke approach to marketing in the digital space. And it was a good time to do it. It kept our minds busy, and it's really paying off. We're very happy and very proud of the work product that we put together when most people were sitting home. We really went at it and hit it hard.
Thank you. It's been tough through COVID.
It has.
And everybody was on the internet because you couldn't go outside. So being on the internet during COVID was crucial because everybody was on the internet. Nobody was really in person. So you guys decided to Now, I noticed on your channel daily blog updates.
Yep.
They're daily videos, like 2, 3, 4-minute videos that give an overview of your blog so that you go to your website to look at the blog. I love those. They're so engaging. I love the music, the the voiceover, and it really gives you a nice overview. Instead of going and reading this whole big thing, you got a nice, short and sweet, entertaining little video, and I really, really like that. I've read some of your blogs, which are really good too, that I've seen are written by some of your agents and also other people. We're thinking about launching our website. And we're also thinking about merchandise. And the money that we get from sponsorships from either you or other companies will go towards the merchandise if we ever start it. Now, I know you have merchandise that goes out to your agents. How is it like, is it hard? Is it too much for us? Is it, because we're really trying to navigate through this and we're trying to get hands-on to everything people are trying to get to so we could really grow our channel, we could really grow our podcast. Is selling merchandise, starting a website, stuff like that, a very hard thing? Is it a thing that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort? What's merchandise like?
So the first thing and the most important thing is you have to continue to produce content, right? Content. And when you're done with that, produce some more content. This is stuff that people should enjoy listening to. It should be natural. It should be organic, but it should be informative. So whatever it may be, you guys have done some really great Fortnite reviews. You have to deliver value to your customer, right? The customer and your audience has to have a reason for listening and for tuning in. The blogs that you're referencing and some of the content we put out, what we did is we went and we Googled the top 1,000 questions asked about real estate. So we pick one question a day and we put together a video blog. We backed it up with a blog in writing. Why do we do it that way? Number one, 93% of audiences prefer video to text. So we produce the video. However, Google crawls and ranks blogs on your website, right? That's part of an SEO lesson, search engine optimization. Google crawls all of the content on your website. They crawl your metadata. So we produce both. We hashtag it properly and we index it so that people can find us. So what I would suggest to you guys is you focus on the content. You can do a reverse search and find out what are people searching for most on topics you're interested. Maybe it's Fortnite, maybe it's Minecraft, whatever the topic is. Start producing content that's centered around what people want to watch and read. And what you end up doing is you start to build an audience. A website, I think, is critical. I think that's the first thing that you should do. The website, think of it as the hub, right? So the website is where all of your content is going to live. Your videos, your blogs, your podcasts, any information that you have, it lives on the website. And then the spokes are your social media channels. That's where you're going to drive people to the hub to find your content. But before you can sell merchandise and before you can get that kind of revenue, you have to have a big audience. You have to have people who are tuning in and that are hearing what you want, what you have to say. And the easiest way to find out what people want to hear is use Google to find out what are people searching.
Yeah, so we kind of did the same thing. If you keep track of our channel, you would see that our Fortnite Doomsday podcast had over 500 views, and
that's great.
So as you can see on our channel, we do more Fortnite content than we do Minecraft content because we see that people like the Fortnite content that more than they do the Minecraft content due to comments, views, likes, dislikes, and stuff like that. We try to work around what the people want. And that's crucial because everybody's bored in quarantine and they want what they want. And so we work around that. We try to create podcasts on what's happening right now, like the Fortnite Doomsday event that we recorded that day. The Minecraft Nether update we recorded that day. Yep. We try to be as consistent as we can with what's going on in the world today. And that's really crucial. And the last question is your podcast. I've listened to it, and it's very interesting. First, give us some backstory. Give us, what the podcast is about. Then give us how it started, how you came up with the idea, and so on, so on, so on. Let's hear it.
Sure. So the podcast was inspired by several other people I listened to. Joe Rogan is one of them. I really enjoyed watching and listening to his show. Some great guests. And as we were delivering this content, we felt that there's no other real estate company on Staten Island that has a podcast studio. And we thought that it would be a great idea for us to continue to stay ahead of the curve and invest in that kind of infrastructure. And use it as a way to get our message out, but also get the message out from people in our community, small business owners and attorneys, engineers. We have some wonderful guests lined up. So each show is centered around a different topic, depending on who the guest is. And, we have our folks in, we record, we put together a nice outline first so everyone is prepared. We do our homework, we research, and we deliver it. Peter, who is our CMO, which is our Chief Marketing Officer, was really a big advocate of this. He felt it was the next frontier, and it's a great source of content. When you produce a podcast, you have several clips that you can cut up and put on your Instagram and on your Twitter and on your TikTok, and then you can pull back up and you can drop interesting cuts on your website and on your new YouTube channel. So it was a great way for us to continue to produce relevant content, build our audience by bringing in guests that were relevant in the community, and we're having a lot of fun with it. Yeah. We're not as good as you guys yet, but we're trying.
I could tell on your channel, that you're on Apple Podcasts, you're on Spotify, you're on all those really big, you're also on SoundCloud, you're on those really big developers. And that's really good to reach out to the people that aren't just on YouTube, but who are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud. Now, the podcast... So the first 2 episodes, Company History was the first one, and Digital Marketing 101 was the second one.
Yep.
Digital Marketing 101 was extremely interesting.
Thank you. It
was with your CMO, Peter, my uncle.
That's right.
Uncle Peter. You guys started talking about the podcast, the website, the YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And I really was engaged in you guys' way of talking, and you really reached out because I'm a kid, I'm 12, and it was an hour long, and I would have gotten so bored on a regular podcast, but I didn't get bored on this one.
Not bad for a boomer.
I didn't get bored. I mean, I was listening to it with either my mom or my grandma or my cousins. And yeah, you guys really, really did a really good job.
Thanks.
I think we're going to wrap it up. Okay. Thank you, really, for being our first guest on the show. Massimo, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have one question. How long did it take you to make all of these podcasts?
Well, so each podcast usually runs about an hour, and then we have usually 2 hours of editing. That's a great question. We have about 2 hours of editing that goes into, the post-production stuff, and it took us about, I would say, 45 days to build out the actual studio, get all of the equipment, make sure we had the proper infrastructure, and make sure that we had interesting topics and guests lined up. So, it took us almost 2 months to do the infrastructure part of it. And each podcast, again, runs about an hour, and then there's usually 2 hours in post-production. So,
wow. That's
Hard
a lot
work,
of days.
baby.
It's a lot of days.
That's it. Got to go get it. If you're not getting it, someone else is. So
yeah. Our podcast here took us about a good 20 days to get ready and get all the equipment in, get the studio set up, get everything built, get the YouTube channel built. Really, really good job. Thank you for being our first guest on the show. This is the James and Massimo Show. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. We are also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. All of them are on the James and Massimo Show. The link to the Casandra Properties website and their Twitter is down in the description. Thank you for sponsoring this video, Casandra Properties. Thank you, James.
my pleasure.
AKA Boomer Dad, for being our first guest on the show.
You're welcome, Zoomer.
We're hoping that you could be on some more podcasts in the future.
Guys,
and
I'm counting on it. I'm counting on you guys to grow this business, and I'm super proud of you. I'm super proud of the work that both of you are doing. Keep it up. Really exciting stuff.
thank you so much, Dad. Thank you all for listening to the James and Massimo Show. This is James. Massimo, say bye because we're about to head out.
Bye.
I think we lost Massimo there. Alrighty. So thank you all for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, dislike, whatever you want. If you comment below if you like these kind of podcasts, if you like guests on the show. If you don't like guests on the show, comment if you like James Prendamano on the show, and that if you liked Casandra Properties sponsoring this video. Thank you all. Hopefully Massimo has better audio in the future. Yeah, this was a really long podcast. Thank you all for listening. Let's cue the outro music.